What is up, everyone? My name is Dylan, and welcome to Nuclear Nightmare. So, this is a game that myself and my buddy Tired have been playing a lot recently, and I wanted to do a little bit of an early access shotgun review for it. And aside from that, maybe just talk about how it plays, what it's like, and some of the cooler stuff that we've noticed that you can do with it. So, sit back, relax, and let's get to it, shall we? So, let's start off with the basics here. What is Nuclear Nightmare? Nuclear Nightmare is a Lethal Company-like game set in the Thing universe where you are in Antarctica with a group of 1 to 8 people. You recover data about the incident that happened in the movie The Thing, legally distinct, of course, and you move through fighting monsters and surviving generally a wintry hellscape. As of right now, there are currently 10 locations that you can visit on the map. Each one has its own unique kind of research to be done, and or pictures taken, other things like that. You go there, you take it, it gets you extra points when you evacuate. Once you have all the data that you want to gather, you don't have to gather it all. Once you have all the data that you want to gather, you can evacuate using a helicopter, and everyone has to go to the same helipad at the same base to all extract at the same time, thus gaining you points to buy skins and perks and customized dances. So it's a pretty fun game, and we're going to go through and do our normal scoring system where we cover the graphics, the gameplay, the loop, the music, the viability to 1.0, and its modability. So I'm just going to have footage in the background showing you guys what it's kind of like, and I'm also going to try to leave the sound on. The sound is one of the weakest parts of the game, and I want you to kind of understand why I'm going to give it such a low score when we get there. Okay. So the first one we always start off with is graphics, and as you can see based on the game, it's pretty hit or miss. So some of the graphics are really good. The environment is very good. The locations are good. There's some repeats, which kind of costed some points, but it does use a lot of store assets, which generally hurt its score. Now, the monsters are amazing. He put a bunch of effort into those. They look really good. They're a wide, diverse cast of terrifying things for you to find. And overall, we're going to give this a score of 5 out of 10. Reasonably good. The game just came out on early access, and it's doing pretty well. He's made quite a few different upgrades. And as you can see as we look around, things like those bubble habitats, super cool. I've never seen them in a different game. He does use a lot of these like morgue, and he uses a lot of like infirmary stuff. And so that's kind of a good thematic thing. Aside from that, there's dogs in the game. They're pretty generic. And there are some graphical glitches. There are at least two places on the map with persistent. So right when you go over by the ship, there's a spaceship. As you drive by the spaceship, there's literally a chunk that has no floor. And so it feels like you're going to fall through it, but you end up just driving over it. It is always there, and it is totally persistent. He hasn't fixed it yet. We've reported it. There's another place like that. I've also had some issues where like the markers, those red poles, just disappeared, and you can't really find your way anywhere without them. You have to take snowmobiles from base to base. Our next category is gameplay, and I would say this is its strongest suit. So gameplay covers mechanics and just kind of the general feel of how they work. So it's got good gunplay. The guns are a little both at somehow they're both over and underpowered. You feel like if you don't aim well, you're not going to hit anything. The shotgun feels good. The pistol feels pretty good. The flamethrower feels really good, and the sniper rifle feels like garbage. And for some reason, it's got like a night vision scope on it, so when you look down it, if there's any light at all, it's already white. It makes it even brighter. The snowmobiles drive fairly well. There are some issues. As you can see, we have to like actually run into the gas station here to be able to fuel our snowmobile, and even then, he wasn't able to do it here. There are basically these are way stations in between the larger bases, and what they do is they allow you to fill up your gas tank your portable kerosene containers, and your flamethrower. There's nothing much else to do out there, and if you get stuck, like if you run out of gas, because it won't let you fuel up or anything like that, it's a long walk between bases. Things I want to see improved. I would like to see the gunplay be a little smoother, especially with the guns that are like less, guns that shoot less bullets. So the Magnum and the sniper rifle need to be upgraded a little bit. They feel a little lackluster. Whereas shotgun, if something gets close to you, you shoot it with a shotgun, it dies in one hit. Same thing with the flamethrower. If it gets close to you, you kill it. There's not a lot to criticize about its gameplay, but I will say, because of the nature of the gameplay is kind of hindered in the fact that you have to spend so much time moving from base to base on snowmobiles, and the snowmobiles are buggy. We had a persistent bug where Tired was unable to actually drive one, so I would have to drive everywhere. We had ones where we couldn't refuel them, ones where they would just kind of like bike off into the distance on their own, like you get off of it, and it's just not great if your entire game is based on snowmobiles if the snowmobiles don't work. There are helicopters. They are death machines. I tried flying one. It did not work. I killed both of us within like minutes. I'll try to throw that up here and show that to you. So gameplay, 7 out of 10. Fun to play, good mechanics, pretty diverse, and it's a really good foundation to build upon. The next category is the loop. The loop is how those mechanics are used in a game-by-game basis for roguelikes and games like this that are like a semi-persistent game that you restart after every single one. The way I look at it is, how much do I want to go through and play another round? Okay? So the gameplay is very good, like I said. The loop is a little weaker. There's only one map. The map is that area and nothing else. He's currently working on more maps. However, there's going to be some barriers to entry on those. There's a hypothermia mechanic that he wants to, that is very important for this map, because you basically can't stay outside without starting to take damage. You can see it on the top left there. But he wants to do like a jungle map. He wants to do an underwaters thing. But if he does those, then he won't be able to use that mechanic. Now, he might be able to modify it into something else. Personally, I want him to do something like the underground pyramid from Alien vs. Predator, because that would still let him use his Antarctic setting, but give it like that really cool, like ancient building vibe. Or a map that's set inside the alien ship, I think would be really awesome also. So, basically, the way the game works is every time you get a document or a picture or something, it stacks up to 10. When you extract, you get points. In between matches, you use those points to get perks, skins, and emotes. And that's really all. That's the only meta there is. The perks are, you don't get them actively. You can only have them once you have to find these soda machines. The soda machines allow you to get a perk, but it's random. And so spending all your points on perks sounds like a really good idea, but you're often never going to see them. And you can only have a certain number of them per life. And when you die, which you die often, you're going to lose those. So I think if he wants to improve it, he needs a new map, obviously. I think that would vastly improve it, because you'd have 2 maps to play on. I think he should make the maps a little bit smaller, just to make them a little bit more, make the games like 30 to 45 minutes instead of 45 minutes to an hour. Now, if you have more people, obviously it goes faster. But aside from that, the loop it's solid. It's a 5. Our next category is going to be the music. Like I said in the beginning, it is definitely the weakest of my categories that I go by. It's a hard thing to judge. He does an excellent job making you feel like you're in an Antarctic base and you're gonna die. There's howling winds. There's ridiculous amounts of like static and everything like that. When it works, the music for the monsters is amazing. So generally, anytime there's a monster, it's supposed to give you an audio cue because they are themselves silent. They can scream, but they often don't. And not only that, they are fast. And so one time we were playing, me and Tube, he's a viewer on my channel, and we were just fueling up our flamethrowers, and no music or anything happened, and all of a sudden, both of us were dead. Basically, a guy snuck up behind us and killed us. And that's a problem. Basically, after you play for about 15 minutes, the music starts getting a little wonky. If you kill a monster like we just did, the music will persist in that location permanently, if it started. So, you'll think that there's a second monster. There isn't. It's just stuck on permanent monster music mode. And he needs to get that fixed because it's really annoying. There's a tentacle monster that does something similar where its tentacles keep growing even though it's dead and keep following you around. Stuff like that is what ruins it, right? So aside from that, the vehicle sounds are okay. The gun sounds are okay. They're not great. And I just wish that he could fix the actual game sound so that you know when something is coming. Maybe it's different for each monster. You know, maybe one only gives you like a 30 seconds warning or something, or a very small radius. But just consistency would make it better. And then, aside from that, another thing that I wish he would work on is the voice options in the game. We tried to do in-game voice our first game, and it's god-awful. It sounds like you're in the Antarctic, which I know is ironic because that's what you want. And it might be that he was going for that, but it's totally unusable, at least in my experience. We ended up using Steam voice chat, and then we used Discord tonight to play, and it was way better. Now, there are things you can do. You get 5 inventory slots. At the beginning of the game, you can select that everyone gets a walkie-talkie. That lets you be a little bit clearer, but you have to understand that not everyone understands how a walkie-talkie works, so it gets a little annoying sometimes. But if you don't have that, if you aren't on a call, then you aren't going to be able to talk to your friends while you're playing. Because if you split up at all, you're not going to be able to talk to each other. So that's, like I said, this is going to be where he needs to do a lot of the work. And I think once he gets that down, because what's there is really good, but he needs to tweak it and fix it so that it doesn't glitch out. So 3 out of 10. This is his weakest part. It's the only part that's under 50, 50% that is. And yeah, so we're going to move on from there to go to viability. Moving on to viability, I'm giving this game about a 60% chance to get to 1.0, and that's in any time frame. The reason why it's not higher is because it's a very it's either one person working on the game or a very small team with just one person who talks to the community. He is very active from everything I've seen. He is very ambitious. He gets a lot of community feedback. He's trying very hard to get people involved. Both Tired and I have been playing a lot of it, and he puts out a lot of information so that you know he's working on it. I'm a little worried he's overreaching. He wants to do like 5 maps and then like some other stuff that he wants to do. I think he should mainly stick to bug fixing and then add maps once those are fixed. The community is very small. This didn't really catch on like Lethal Company or Content Warning did, and so there's a lot less people with eyes on it. That also lowers its rating. Our last category is going to be Modability. Currently, no plans for mods, although I think this is a game that is ripe for it. I think that if he can get his scope under control and add a workshop for custom monsters, custom sound effects, custom perks, I think this game would be just way better off for it. So he's not going to get any points for extra points for modding today, but I think this is the perfect kind of game for that. So overall, the game is doing fairly well. It's still in its infancy, but we'll do a rundown of the scores real quick. So we've got a 5 for graphics, 7 for gameplay, 5 for loop, 3 for music, and 6 for viability. No extra points for modding. That never hurts, it only helps. So if a game is highly moddable, it gets a few bonus points. Nothing too big. All said and done, the game's going to get about a 52% rating, which is still above 50%, which means that I think it's good. I would keep an eye on it. If this is your kind of jam, like if you like 80s horror movies, get it. It was $7 without any discount. Right now it is $3. I will throw a link down in the description. I don't get an affiliate. I just really like the game and want people to support it. There are a lot of things that need to be fixed, but I think that he has the gumption to get it done. And the community that is playing is very, very excited for it. I personally love the Thing movies, both the original and the prequel that was done about 20 years later. So they're both good, and this does them justice. So if that's your kind of thing, it's great. Also, one note, when somebody transforms on your team, it's terrifying. So I'm going to show a clip of that, but it is terrifying because like you don't know that they're going to turn, or you might turn and you can't tell anyone, you know, because the voice chat doesn't work if you're dead. And then you just like straight up sprint at people. So if that's your kind of thing, or if you have a bunch of people that you like to play with, this is a great game for it. Pick it up for party night. It's pretty good. I'll see you all later. If you're interested, we do stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 9 p.m. Central to about midnight. We generally play a lot of RPGs and other games like that. We have been playing Nuclear Nightmare with Tired and a few other friends on the channel. But aside from that, we also take recommendations on video games, and I try to do one of these every couple of weeks. The next one up will be Nimrods, which is a gun modding survival game that I personally love, and is something I want to support because I put 20 hours just into the demo, and I've already put another 10 hours into the early access game that just came out. So I will see you all for that video probably about next week, and I hope you all have a great night and had a great Christmas. Later, guys. Mouth is out.